Right. So two of the most talked about models right now are Qwen 3.6 Plus and MiniMax M3. And I ran them both through 4 real tests. MiniMax M3 hit 83.5 on BrowseComp, and that number is worth paying attention to. Both models just launched with 1 million token context windows. So the stakes are real right now, and I'm comparing them across 4 tests: reasoning, multimodal capability, pricing, and long context retrieval. Everything I'm showing you traces to verified sources, no vendor spin. And honestly, what surprised me most is a billing cliff that could wreck your API budget on long documents. And which model you pick determines whether you ever hit it. So who's this for? Developers and teams picking a production model right now, whether that's for coding agents, multilingual pipelines, or long document work. Choosing wrong means paying more per token, hitting context limits you didn't see coming, or finding out too late that your model can't read an image your pipeline sends it. Test 1 is reasoning and math. And the failure mode you actually feel is this. You ship an agent that's supposed to solve multi-step coding tasks, it hallucinates a function call, and now you're debugging at midnight because a model that can't reason well costs you hours, not just accuracy points. Okay, so I looked at both sites actually published, and it's kind of a mess in the best way. Qwen 3.6 Plus scores 78.8 on Zoe Bench Verified blog reported, which puts it within 2 points of Claude Opus 4.6, while MiniMax M3 hits 83.5 on BrowseComp and 37.1 on Post-Trade Bench, vendor reported. Bear in mind, these are totally different test suites, and honestly, this is where you want to take it with a grain of salt. Qwen 3.6 Plus has SWE bench numbers, MiniMax M3 has BrowseComp and Post-Trade Bench, and they never ran the same test, so anyone telling you one clearly beats the other on reasoning is just guessing. The gap might be real, or it might just be benchmark selection. I was expecting one of these to pull ahead cleanly, and what actually happened is neither did. The benchmarks don't overlap, so this one's a tie, and I think that's the honest call. Mix scoreboard sits at 0 for Qwen 3.6 Plus, 0 for MiniMax M3, with 1 tied. So get your hands dirty on your own tasks before you decide. Test 2 is multilingual and multimodal capability. And the concrete failure mode is you send an image to your model, it can't read it, and your whole pipeline breaks. Or you're running a product in 12 languages, and the model just doesn't support 3 of them, and either way, you find out in production, not in testing. What surprised me here is how clear-cut this one is. MiniMax M3 takes text, image, and video inputs natively, baked in from pre-training, while Qwen 3.6 Plus is text in, text out, full stop. It does cover 119 languages for text, which is generally good, but if your pipeline touches anything visual, Qwen 3.6 Plus just can't do it. Now, if your workflow is purely text, Qwen 3.6 Plus's 119 language coverage is a real concrete advantage. MiniMax M3 doesn't publish a language count at all, so if you're running a multilingual text-only pipeline, the modality gap doesn't matter, and Qwen 3.6 Plus might actually be the smarter pick there. I kind of expected both models to be close here. But MiniMax M3 wins this outright because it's the only one that can handle images and video, and that's not a close call. MiniMax M3 goes up to 1 win. Qwen 3.6 Plus is still at 0, 1 tie on the board. So the modality gap is just too big to split. Test 3 is API pricing per million tokens, and the failure mode is real. You run a cost estimate, it looks fine, you ship to production, and then a long document call crosses a threshold you didn't know existed, and your bill doubles. That's not a hypothetical. That's what MiniMax M3's 512,000 billing cliff actually does to developers. So I pulled the open router numbers for both on the same platform. MiniMax M3 is cheaper on both ends. 24 cents input versus 0.325 for Qwen 3.6 Plus, and 96 cents output versus $1.95, which is a pretty big output gap. But the catch I was not expecting is that MiniMax M3 bills at 2 times the rate on the entire request once you cross 512,000 tokens. I was expecting pricing to be pretty boring, and instead I found a billing cliff that could genuinely hurt you. MiniMax M3 takes this test on raw per token cost because 24 cents and 96 cents beats $0.325 and $1.95 on open router, and that pushes MiniMax M3 to 2 wins, Qwen 3.6 Plus still at 0-1 tied. Just watch that 512,000 threshold if you're doing long doc work. Test 4 is context window and retrieval fidelity. And what goes wrong is you stuff a 900,000 token document into a model that claims 1 million context, and it just stops finding things that are clearly in there. Or the model advertises 1 million tokens, but only guarantees 512,000 at launch, and you find that out after you've already built around the larger window. I looked at the specs and community reports for both, and here's what we got. Both advertise 1 million tokens, but MiniMax M3 only guarantee 512,000 at Fireworks launch, with full 1 million still rolling out, while Qwen 3.6 Plus delivers 1 million consistently via API and publishes a 65,536 token max output. MiniMax M3 has no published output limit, and the throughput numbers come from different test setups, so take those comparisons with a grain of salt. Honestly, neither model is clean here. Qwen 3.6 Plus community reports note degradation in the upper context range. So treat 1 million as a retrieval budget, not a dump zone. MiniMax M3 claims its sparse attention architecture keeps quality at 1 million with 95% less compute. But that's vendor reported, and there's no independent head-to-head retrieval test for either model. I was expecting one of these to clearly own the long context story, and what I found is they both have real caveats. So this one lands as a tie. Qwen 3.6 Plus stays at 0 wins, MiniMax M3 stays at 2, and we've now got 2 tied tests, so the final scoreboard is MiniMax M3 wins 2, Qwen 3.6 Plus wins 0, 2 tied across 4 tests. So here's where Qwen 3.6 Plus is the clear pick. There's no 512,000 billing cliff, so your long document costs stay predictable, and it scores 78.8 on SWE bench verified within 2 points of Claude Opus 4.6 with always-on chain of thought included. You also get a free preview tier on OpenRouter to stress test it before spending anything, plus 119 verified languages for text-only multilingual pipelines. And here's where MiniMax M3 wins without question. It's the only model here that reads images and video natively baked in from pre-training, and on OpenRouter, it's cheaper on both input and output right now. Its sparse attention architecture claims 9 times prefill and 15 times decode speedups at 1 million tokens. And on agentic benchmarks, 83.5 browse comp and 37.1 post-train bench show it can run complex multi-step tasks. Honestly, I was expecting a clearer overall winner, and what I got is a use case split. If your pipeline touches images or video at all, MiniMax M3 is the only real option between these two. And if you're running text-only coding agents or multilingual workflows and you want predictable costs with no billing surprises, Qwen 3.6 Plus is the safer, more battle-tested choice.